Division I basketball, which added to that. We ended up having only 3 guys that didn't miss multiple games all season due to injury, a couple of which were season-ending injuries. We ended up having a manager that we ended up putting on the team, and he played, bless his heart, double figures minutes in a few games. So it was a very interesting year that way. And having said all that, we still had 11 out of our 18 conference games came down to the last possession. So we had some successes, we had some failures. That's to be expected. And then we had a lot of change. You said a little turnover. There was a lot of turnover, and so. But again, in 2018, that's something that happens on average. Over 4 players per team transfer per year in this day and age, and it's just unfortunately the rules are changing in a way that it's going to get more common before it gets less common. So we had a lot of changeover, but you said it. We could literally not be more excited about what we've got coming in. And just in these few workouts, the freshmen just got to campus and joined some of the older guys. Just the freshmen come a little later because they have graduation and prom and all that sort of fun stuff. So they come a little bit later. But just in these couple workouts that we've had, I know personally, I could not be any more excited about what we've got in the program, and I'm just very optimistic about what we can do, and most importantly about who we're doing it with.
Now, the one thing that I had noticed, you had the one senior that was on the squad last season, and so I'm assuming the other 6 pretty much just decided to transfer for whatever reason, correct? Yep.
And, we had postseason meetings with all of them, and all of them found a situation, and we came to an agreement with some that it was, a better situation for them, whether that be to, get a new lease on life and start over somewhere. Some of it was basketball related. Very little of it was basketball related, I would say, actually, but some of it was that. And just, like I said, you just get none of these guys came to Chattanooga, because of me, specifically because of me. A couple of them did in the late, freshmen, the high school seniors that we signed late in the period, but, the majority of them did not. And so when you get that, and like I said, when you get change in leadership, oftentimes there are a lot of moving parts that go along with that.
Coach, we'll go on past that, but I mean, when you come into a program, and last year was your first season here in Chattanooga, you want to try to instill some of your philosophies that you feel would be a success and everything. Do you feel like that you have the core players that you're looking for that will be willing and able to work within your system that, you've laid out here at Chattanooga?
I do. I with this group of guys, we've had more time to do more research on and just watch them more, get to know them more in terms of their work ethic, in terms of their skill set, in terms of situations that they can be in terms of how they want to be coached, in terms of meeting expectations that we would have for them, in terms of what they do academically, in terms of all these different things that are going to be different than what you've been used to if you were already here. A different academic standard, a different workout standard, a different level of coaching, not good or bad, but just a different style. So I feel extremely confident that these are the guys that we put a lot of time and effort and energy into recruiting these guys, these young men, and I feel really good about one, their fit into what we do and how we want to go about doing what we do, but two, I feel really, really good about their overall abilities as well.
Now, Coach, with this. Last year, you had the youngest basketball team in the entire United States. Do you feel like that you're going to be in that similar situation this upcoming season, or do you feel like that you were able to bring in, enough to get us out of that rabbit hole per se, and to be actually more competitive than what we were this past season?
Yeah, we will be young again. We will only have one senior this year, so we will be young again. But I think a big part of the difference in that is that we do have more game experience than what we did last year. As far as at the collegiate level, we have some transfers that had been sitting out that actually played significant minutes. We have another transfer that's coming in from UAB that's been around the block. This will be his 5th year in college, and so we do have more experience than we did last year. And so I expect us to be much more competitive. That's my expectation this year than we were last year, and it's a realistic expectation. It's reality. It's why these guys have come here, and so we've started already and working towards making steps in order to do that.
How do you feel that with these incoming freshmen and the returners that you have out of this squad from last year, how committed do you feel that they really are in taking UTC back up into the realm of success like it's enjoyed in previous years?
I think the group is extremely committed to that. I think these guys, these young men, are grateful for the opportunity that they have here, and I don't ever want to understate that quality in a young man. I've seen what that does. I think these young men are extremely competitive, and I think they're extremely committed. And so I think that we laid that out in the recruiting process. We told them we would challenge them. We told them we'd put them in situations in which they're going to fail, and in hopes that allows them to succeed on a grander scale. And these guys wanted that challenge. They accepted that, and they came here specifically because of that. And when you have that mindset, I think that's probably one of the biggest differences in this group. When you have that mindset, then you have a tremendous work ethic, then I think you're able to accomplish a lot of success.
Now, Coach, I mean, with this incoming squad, do you feel like that there's going to be a lot more of freshmen and sophomore that are probably going to see the bulk of the playing time, or do you feel like it's going to be a good mix all across the board?
I think it'll be a good mix across the board. I think, again, and I don't want to completely take everything away from that last year's team. We had a lot of injury, and that affected a lot of different things from a decision-making standpoint on who would play and what positions they would play and who was available. That was a big factor in what we did. But I anticipate that there will be, and you never know until you throw the ball up in the air and guys get to facing off at practice and squaring off against each other as to who's going to compete and outperform whom. But I anticipate that we'll have a lot of different faces out there that'll be able to compete for us, and everything from our 5th-year grad transfer to our freshmen will play a significant role in what we do. I think we have a lot of versatility with this group. I think we can play a lot of different ways, a lot of different size lineups. We can have an extra skilled lineup. We can have a really big lineup. We can be smaller and more athletic. So a lot of growth that needs to take place, but the possibilities of just from looking at the roster and the abilities of these guys and the versatility of a lot of these guys, I think everyone has a chance to contribute. I think we're going to see a lot of guys that get a chance to contribute.
When the season ended late February, early March, when you started seeing, in the postseason exit interviews with the players, where you felt that you needed to go out there and start bringing in some additional talents and stuff to keep this a very competitive team?
Mm-hmm. Did you say when?
When? Yes. How long after you conducted those exit interviews that you felt like, well, we need to get moving here?
Yeah, it varied from person to person. I mean, we had one, Mikhail Foreman came in, and I actually commend him for this. Mikhail Foreman came in and immediately upon the end of the season came into my office. This was 2 days after we got back from the tournament, and told me that what he was thinking about and what he was considering and what he wanted to do. Now, there were some other circumstances around it that I didn't like necessarily, and some people that were involved in that process that should not have been involved in that process.
Right.
That's part of one of the things that we need to clean up in college basketball. But I did respect him for doing it immediately. So to answer your question, he came in immediately. Then, Rodney Chapman told me on the last day that he was possibly here. So that puts you behind an 8 ball from a recruiting standpoint.
Oh, wow.
And so I give a lot of credit to our staff, who was extremely flexible, extremely hardworking in this, extremely diligent in their pursuit of these young men, and the ability to put this roster together with some of the time constraints that we were up against, I think was deserves a lot of credit. And so, because at times you're counting on one guy being there, and then he comes and tells you the day before school's out. Not when the season's over, but the day before school's out.
Right.
That I'm leaving. So at that point in time, there just aren't as many guys available, and put you in scramble mode. And so with all those things being said, I could not be happier or more excited or prouder of the group of guys that we have.
Now, when you found out that, you were losing, these players and stuff, did you feel like you should just look immediately to the JUCO route, or were you actually active in trying to find these freshman recruits?
Well, we had signed 2 of the freshmen in November, and then we signed 2 of the freshmen in the April signing. 2 of the other one, we have 4 altogether in the April signing period. So some of these decisions, and they may or may not have contributed to other people's decisions as to whether or not to come back to the team. But some of these were already in place before some of our guys made their decisions. So, and that can at times be part of a person's decision-making process, that you have this person coming in and this person coming in, and potentially my role is going to be a little smaller than what it was this year and what I might like it to be. So, so that's part of it. But we were just, so we signed 4 of those guys in the early period, and then we found 2 junior college guys that are not your prototypical junior college guys, and that's not a slam on junior college guys, but both of these young men were committed to academics at a high level. I think for both of these guys, it was about they found themselves in junior college more because they needed to develop physically, as opposed to they academically were behind the curve, or because oftentimes those guys have situations that make it more difficult. So ours were different guys than that. So we got a couple of junior college guys, and then we had Thomas Smallwood, who's a transfer from UAB, who saw a new lease on life. He's a seven-footer, a new lease on his basketball life and his opportunity at Chattanooga. And we couldn't be any happier about having him there too. And then that's combined with the 2 guys that we already had sitting out. So actually 6 of the guys, of the incoming guys that we had, were already in place by the time a lot of these guys made their decisions.
All right, Coach Lamont Paris from UTC, thanks for joining us tonight. And we've got more coming up after the break here on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. 3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A Ringgold man was arrested at a Chattanooga club after cops say he drunkenly fought with officers. Video purportedly shows William Floyd in an altercation with officers who were trying to escort him from the club. Police say Mr. Floyd lashed out and hit an officer in the head, breaking his glasses. Floyd and the officer then reportedly exchanged punches. An inmate at the county jail is being treated for what the sheriff's office is calling puncture wounds. Reports indicate the incident happened Saturday in a fight with another inmate. Spokesperson Alan Branham telling the press a criminal investigation is initiated. State House Representative Gerald McCormick announced he will resign October the 1st. He said in a statement he's accepted a position at ASA Engineering, which is looking to expand into the Davidson County area. McCormick represents District 26, which includes Chattanooga and Harrison. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News Now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga weather. Becoming fair out there through your nighttime hours. Warm and muggy overnight. Lows 70 to 72 for Tuesday as well as the midweek. More typical summertime weather just a couple of days early with hot and humid afternoon highs into the lower 90s and a few isolated afternoon storms. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily, locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's, it's always good. And I'm sure she's meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
I got my business up and running, and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
Hey, dude, check this out. Have you ever seen one so big?
Whoa, look at the size of that.
Look at this little itty-bitty one.
Wow, that's really small.
They have them big, small, and everything in between. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives at the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. We're talking about over 40 brands of knives, including Benchmade, WR Case & Sons, Booker, and all the Frost Cutlery brands. Now, Sam, you've been to the cutlery shop. Is it amazing?
Spectacular. The knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. They have knives, swords, kitchen knives, ammo, and reloading supplies, plus survival gear.
It's the knife shop at Frost Cutlery. Open 7 days a week. Hey, girls, you're going to love this. We're going to the knife shop.
Hey, let's not tell them they have ammo and loading supplies.
The knife shop at Frost Cutlery opens 7 days a week. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives. You're going to love the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. The knife shop.
And tell them David Toulis sent you. Do you hear that? That, my friend, is not what you're thinking. That is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yeah, Indian. Indian motorcycle is more than a bike. It's an experience, an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. Are you ready to ride? Join the club. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign, 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Hey, Karen, you need me for that 1 o'clock?
Yes, Cheese, please. Karen, did you get the quarterlies done? Yep, they're filed in the cabinet.
Karen, can you describe the initiatives to the new hire? Thanks.
Oh, sure. Full-bodied, some floral notes, maybe a hint of dark chocolate.
Am I in the right department?
Got wine on the mind? Come unwind at Virgola. Italian wine, oysters, caviar, cheeses, and more. Perfect after work or a romantic date night. Virgola Italian Wine Bar, 608 Georgia Avenue.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating would like to remind you it's so hot out there. And guess what? Your deck is taking a beating. It's probably starting to show wear. If you're hosting Friends for the 4th, get your deck entertainment ready with a fresh coat of stain and protect it from heat, sun, and rain with a quality sealant. If you want to get to work, Chattanooga Paint and Decorating want to help you. For exterior paint, stains, sealants, and supplies, stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today on Hicks and Pike across from Valvoline or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nooga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nooga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7.
Nooga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nooga Radio, 92.7 Sports. Now.
YouTube over here. Let me get to there we go. We got that camera covered. And if you are watching Facebook Live or YouTube, which I see we already have a few people that are watching, I have the two owners, gentlemen, extraordinaires, and Jason Kirk and John C. And the one with his hand up in the air is John C. The first one was Jason. And they're from the Mobile Medics. They're one of our new sponsors here on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. And gentlemen, I've got you live here, mic'd up and everything. What is the Mobile Medics? Who wants to jump in?
I'll let Jason jump in on that.
All right, Jason, you're on the hot seat.
Well, what we do, Mobile Medics, is we do mobile cell phone repair, which means, if you have a cell phone emergency, you break your screen, you get your phone wet, we actually come to the customer. That way they don't have to go to the brick and mortar stores. They don't have to fight the traffic at Hampton Place or Interstate 24, which we know is the parking lot 9 out of 10 times. We fight that traffic for them. So, if you broke your screen, your iPhone 7, you drop, hey, we can fix it. We come to them. We made them a convenient location. And that's really what we do.
And that's great for the people in outlying areas too. We will go out and visit the people that are, an hour out of town and don't have anybody near them that can work on anything. We'll come up there and meet them somewhere convenient. They don't have to waste 2 or 3 hours out of their day driving down to Chattanooga or to another big city just to deal with a small problem.
Right. So, in a sense, you're like the Geek Squad that a certain national chain has, except on the cell phone level.
Right.
Pretty much.
All right.
So, and our prices are far more reasonable than you would get from any of the big guys like that. So.
Now, how long you guys been doing this?
Combined, we've been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah, pretty much. Both of us right there in about that 7.5, 8 years doing this. And we've been working on smartphones almost since there's been smartphones. So,
okay. Now, what seems to be the most common problem? Cracked screens or the connections or what?
You just hit the nail on the head on both of those. Okay. Cracked screens and bad charging ports. Those are 9 times out of 10, that's what people are calling for. Right behind that, you got batteries.
Yeah. And why is it that batteries just seem to get so hot?
It's charging.
Well, yeah, I understand that. But I mean, after you've had the phone for like over a year or so, they start to get hot and everything, and it's like,
well, I mean, I can handle that one if you want me to, Jason. It's basically the chemistry in the battery starting to break down. The battery's having to strain a little bit harder to provide the charge needed. The way lithium-based batteries are designed, they have a natural lifespan of only a couple of years, basically so many charge cycles. And you really should replace the battery in your smartphone or any of your electronics about once every 2 years for most devices. At that point in time, you're going to be seeing a lack of life in the battery. It's going to charge still, and it'll say it's 100%, but what's 100% for it now is more like 60% of what it was when it was new.
Okay.
And a lot of the reasons too, a lot of the reasons that batteries do swell and stuff too is charging habit. You don't want to keep the thing on charge constantly. Recommendations is, let it get down as close to zero as you can get and bring it back up to charge, because those batteries only have a certain amount of cycles they'll go through.
Okay.
They're rated for so many. Once it reaches that cycle, it's done. And then that's when you start getting the bad battery life, the having to replace and stuff like that.
So I'm assuming, and you know what they say about assuming,
right?
How a battery starts to degenerate, I guess, is maybe because of all the apps that you have on the smartphones, and that seems to be the
that's the difference now between 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you had a Nokia phone, you charged it Friday, you used it till Tuesday, and then you might have to top it off again. Right. This day and age, our phone is everything. It's our camera, it's our GPS, it's basically a laptop we carry with us everywhere for checking our email, checking our apps. It's our lifeline for a lot of people. I mean, especially business people, but I mean, kids, teenagers, everybody. My 70-plus-year-old grandmother is now addicted to her smartphone and checks Facebook religiously.
When'd you get her? An iPhone?
No, God, no. I got her. She's on an Android phone, Samsung S7.
Okay. All right, so you bring up a good point here. What's better for the typical user?
Preference.
Apple or Samsung?
100% preference. It's preference. Yeah. Okay. You'll see, we joke about it because we are both Android people. but that is our preference.
Okay.
Now, if you're used to using an iPhone, there's no real reason to switch unless you see something more attractive on the other side. And you're going to you ask 10 different people, you'll get 10 different opinions, especially amongst tech nerds on this.
Okay, let me ask you this. What type of system phones, the Apple or a Android, do you end up working on the most?
We see more Apple products.
We do see more Apple products, but I do think that is purely because the market is saturated. Apple only releases basically 2 phones a year. They release a Plus version and a regular version. And with Android, there's dozens of options out there. So for a lot of people, if they break their Android device, they're just going to go ahead and go get another one, especially for the lower price point. Now, when you get up into the flagship models that cost $800-900, yeah, those are worth fixing every single time versus going out and buying another $900 phone. But with an Apple device, a lot of times if you've got a device and you've only bought it a year ago, that's not really worth upgrading to the new one yet, or the new one hasn't came out yet. So they're going to fix it. I think that is a big reason why we see those.
That's the reason. Yeah.
All right. Now, if most people are out there wondering, they're listening to a sports show, why would we be talking about cell phones or tablets or anything like that? But the reason is because we are such an outdoor-centric area as far as with triathlons, like one coming up this weekend, or with, people are out jogging or doing whatever. Do they find the need? Hey, they drop their phone. They either have it like inside, like for a female, most of them will slide it inside their bra while they're out there running or exercising, or they've got it on their shoulder. Or whatever. Yeah, and it's like, okay, it falls out of the holster there and drops and breaks. This is the perfect way of getting hold of mobile medics.
Right. And then, too, we have some of the prettiest lakes around. We've got Chickamauga, Nickajack, people out boating on the weekends, fishing. If they drop those devices and get them wet, we can fix those as well. So there's nothing that outside the realm of stuff that we can't do. The secret to a wet phone, though, is don't plug it up.
Yeah, absolutely. My advice, if you get it wet, put it in a Ziploc bag. Don't plug it up. Don't try to power it on. Just put it in a Ziploc bag. Give us a call at Mobile Medics. We'll get you taken care of, get you cleaned up, and minimize the amount of damage done as quickly as possible.
And keep the rice at home because
rice is for dinner. It's a side item.
Is that a myth?
Chicken.
Is that a myth?
That's 100% a myth. Yes.
Okay, so it won't do any good.
Well, you're wasting tomorrow's side item for dinner. That's basically all you're doing. It does not do anything to dry out the internals of the phone. It can actually make it worse because the carbohydrates on the outside of the rice can mix with that moisture and gum up things. Rice, absolutely do not. That is an internet myth that has been around forever, and it's been wrong the entire time.
Okay. All right, now we're going to take phone calls here, 423-800-8949. So if you want to participate, ask a question. I am sure that someone has got a question for these guys here to ask about cell phones or tablets. You take care of batteries to charging ports. You also work on video game console repairs, computer repairs, all manufacturers, not just iPhone or whatever. You pretty much run the gamut. Is that correct?
That would be correct. And we get a lot of people who think we just do iPhones, but we don't. We do Samsung. We just the other day did the Galaxy S8.
No, honestly, we'll pretty much work on any device you have. If we can get parts for it, we'll work on it. We have experience with every manufacturer of cell phone that is distributed here in the U.S. We can do, like he was saying, Sam said, we can do computer repairs. We can fix your game consoles. Pretty much you name it. When it comes to electronics and, anything like that, tablets, we got you taken care of.
Okay. What do you feel like is probably the biggest problem? I mean, spills, onto a gaming system controller or onto a phone or getting into water or breakage or what?
I mean,
a lot of the things we see is HDMI damage, more the port to the TV.
For the game systems.
A lot of the damage we see.
Behind that, you've got issues with the disk drives that, a disc will get jammed in there and it'll cause the drive to go bad. And plus, you've got just failure of components. And with time, even the most current generation of gaming system was released, 4 years ago now? So you're starting to see components go bad, and they're out of warranty with the manufacturer.
Okay. So it is salvageable?
Oh yeah. Most of the time. Now, obviously, you can't fix everything. Unfortunately, I mean, we wish we could fix everything, but yeah, exactly. Trust me. Yeah, there's certain things we can't fix. My face being one of them. That's why I'm hiding back here.
Okay.
But yeah, with the game system, I mean, don't go out and spend $300-400 on a new system. Give us a call first. Let us check it out. A lot of times, $150-160, a lot of times less. We can get those back up and running for you, and you can be back to gaming in no time. And I'm a gamer myself. I don't like to go without my system. I've got 2 of them at home just to keep everybody happy. So we do understand. We try to prioritize those and get them back in the customers' hands as quickly as possible for both the sanity of the parents and the kids' entertainment. And by kids, I mean kids from ages 12 up to 36-ish.
Or beyond. Yes.
Well, we did bring a treat, though, Sam. We've got a phone here that we were going to work on live as we do our segment.
Okay.
So we've brought that in, just kind of show the people how quickly it actually can be.
Okay.
So we're going to start now for the people in Radio Land who can't see what we're doing. Now, the
Facebook Live
and everyone else can, but the people in radio can't see. So we're going to start now. And, yeah. And we will get the timer and see how long this takes.
All right, we have the timer up and running right now. Go right ahead. What's the issue with the phone?
This is an iPhone 7
on the camera
with a cracked screen.
Okay.
You can put it up there, then kind of see it's got a busted screen there.
Looks like the boss's phone.
It might be. I don't know.
We had a volunteer for this, so we did not provide the phone. We are just providing the services.
Okay.
And I'm going to be quiet for a minute and work on this, and we'll let Jason do the talking.
Oh, well, that's new.
Okay.
John wants to talk, which is great for us because he can't
do 2 things at once, evidently.
Multitask is
when you're timing me, I'm going to try and put my effort into fixing the phone. Every device is of the utmost importance, especially ones that may belong to the boss here. So,
well, so far you've only got a minute into it.
Oh, that's good.
So you're doing good. How long does it typically take?
Typically, it depends on the environment, depends on the device, of course.
Okay.
But what we like to do is we like to get in and out in 30 minutes or less. That gives us time to test the device, make sure it works correctly. Gives us time to diagnose it, make sure there's nothing else that you might have to replace. We also do a free diagnostic as we're fixing the device. That way we can say, if you need a new battery, stuff like that. So that way you're aware of any future problems that can come up. Just to kind of let you know later on down the road, you might spend a little more money. And we also determine there on the spot, is this phone worth fixing? Yes. Is it not worth fixing? No. We're not going to take that customer and be like, oh, yes, we just want your money. That's all we need. We educate. And that's probably what sets us different than our competition. It's the fact that we do educate our customers. We want them to know they're getting a good value for what they've got. We want them to know, hey, this phone you can buy at retail for $125. It's going to be more economical for you to buy the new phone.
Okay.
At the same time, we can still fix that $125 phone if you've got pictures. And we do have some customers that, I know I could replace it for cheaper, but I've got pictures of a relative that's passed, or I've got my kid's birthday pictures or wedding pictures on there. Haven't had time to pull them off yet. We can either get those pictures off the device for them when possible, or we can go ahead and do the repair and kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get it to where they can get their pictures and have a working device again.
Now, let me ask you this. While John is over there masterfully working to fix this phone, it looks like Mike Steele had dropped a few times because of being upset with probably comments that I've made. Is it best to try to get with my phone, let me get it out here. Mine's a Samsung J7 Pro or Sky Pro or something like that. Is it a lot of good to get one of these absorbent cases to go on it?
Yes, anything you can do to protect your device. Cases work well. Tempered glass screen protectors. Those things do protect. Now, of course, that kind of puts us out of business a little bit because you're protecting your device. We can't fix it.
Right.
But it's great to have the protection on it.
Right. Yep.
Well, when we take a break, you'll have to go get me the
I
right
can do
screen.
that.
then.
Oh, there's no break, really. If
Okay,
you want to
well,
run
we'll just-
down,
yeah,
I'll
we'll just
talk to
kick him.
John.
Yeah, we'll just kick him
Just
out.
kick
and
me
I'll
out
run
then.
out.
We'll come back into the camera view here while Jason runs out to the vehicle to get the iPhone 6 glass, I guess.
Well, screen. Basically, it's the glass, the LCD, a couple of other components all mixed into one. But yeah, this you would be surprised how often people tell us they have one device and we find out it's another. We usually, when we come on site for a customer repair, we try to bring an arrangement of screens just to make sure we've got the right one, because it is one of those things where to most people, every iPhone looks the same on the outside. So, there's a few small nuances, and, some of us tech nerds can pick those out quickly, but the average user, they're just like, oh, I've got an iPhone. And you ask them, well, what kind do you have? And when it's, starting with the, you
better bring everything.
Bring some extras just in case.
Now, one of the things, like with a cracked screen that we're looking at with this here, do you normally find other types of damage underneath?
Occasionally, and we do always make our customers aware of that. If we find some damage that was unexpected, we like to let the customer know. Now, sometimes it'll be something that will affect the repair. Sometimes it's just something to give them a heads up. The biggest thing we find that we are usually not expecting when we go in, we're going to find moisture damages, sensors that are tripped, and that lets us know that at some point in time, some water has gotten in that phone. And with a cracked screen, it's a lot easier for that moisture to get in, especially with the humidity that we all know we get here in the South. So that is probably the biggest thing that we see when we get in a device, and we try to let the customer know that, hey, we saw the water damage sensor was tripped. We checked for any major water damage. If we find anything, we clean it up. We let the customer know. We point out any other issues that may be going on. If we find anything that we feel needs immediate attention, such as a swollen battery, something that we feel would be both unsafe for the customer or is going to prohibit the phone from working properly, then we always make sure to make that immediately aware to the customer. And if it's something minor, though, we'll let the customer know that it's up to them whether or not they want to fix it if there's an additional part needed.
Guess who shows back up? Jason Kirk with the iPhone 6 screen.
And that's why we keep these things in stock in the vehicle. So that way.
Exactly. Just for this instance right here, it actually ended up being a good teaching lesson. So you don't have to necessarily know what you have. We will still take care of it.
Okay. So, Jason, while you've been out gallivanting, running around and getting a screen there out of the vehicle and everything, when you come, what will the customer expect? Step one all the way through.
Well, step one, they see my smiling face or John's smiling face.
Okay. Well, we have.
Sorry, I haven't figured out how to avoid that step yet.
All right. Calling you on the air, it's Locker Room Show with Sam Jordan.
You guys were talking about the iPhone 6, and I had a question for your guys there, the mobile medics. I had an iPhone 6 for about a year and a half, and then one day it decided not to turn on again, so I had to go back, and I liked the phone so much that I went back and just went ahead and got another 6S. But I've had that now for almost 2 years. Should I expect the same thing? And would they have any idea of why my first one just decided to suddenly stop working and lock up?
Things like that. Also, too, batteries can go bad, even though it's a newer device. That battery could just bit the dust. And then 3, the CPU or any other internal could have just went bad. Normally, you don't have an issue like that. It's just one of those things that can happen.
Okay.
Obviously, we can come more with an inspection in person, but giving a quick over the phone analysis, it's a little bit hard to say specifically what went wrong with it. I'm going to step out real quick, gentlemen, to grab a tool out of my bag, and I'll be back momentarily.
All right. So if you'd like to call in and ask a question of the Mobile Medics, that's Jason Kirk right here with me, and then John C., who just stepped out of the room. Please do so at 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949. Or you can pose a question on Facebook Live. You can do that simultaneously. You can always go to themobilemedics.com. If you have a need, and even while we're demonstrating here, while we still have about another 4 to 5 minutes here, you can always call them at 423-417-3002. 423-417-3002. Now, I'm assuming you have regular hours.
We do, but we're also, we're fully available 24 hours. What that means, the other night we were at Volkswagen, fixing a device for a gentleman who worked, they work those weird hours over there, crazy hours. And he wanted to get the phone fixed for her birthday. So he was out there 2 o'clock in the morning fixing the device. So, we're full customer service. It's also, too, we have 5-star reviews on our Facebook page and also our Google, because of what we try to do for the customer, go above and beyond what your other shops around here would do or your other people will do. So we're available 24/7. If you have a need, and we just make an appointment and we'll work around it.
Okay. Now, I see here from some of the points here about Mobile Medics, you have lower costs because there's not a whole lot of overhead. And I'm assuming you try to pass those savings on to the customer and everything.
We do. We're not paying, $3,600 in rent and things like that. So that makes it easier for us to pass that along to the customer. Utility costs, we have a very minimal utility cost. I mean, it's just, gas is our biggest expense, and maintenance, of course, on vehicles, but that's it. So we pass those savings along to the customer, and we provide a better value for them as much as we can.
Okay. What would be some of the typical questions that you get from a customer? Like I've had on my S5, which I had until earlier this year. Where you put your battery charger port in. Mm-hmm. That seems to be the biggest problem that I've experienced with cell phones. Is that typical or not? Or is it just because of being hard on the phone?
It is typical. What we see a lot of our charge ports when we have to replace them, and we'll talk to the customer, like, well, how do you charge your phone? Or tell us your charging habits. A lot of the times the customer will even admit, I lay down in bed and text or use the phone. The key to keeping your charge port healthy is if you use the device, unplug it, do what you have to do, if it's a text message or a phone call or whatever, and then plug it back up. That way you don't put all the stress on the charge port. Another thing you run into is the car chargers that have the curly, those put a lot of pressure on a charge port. So as you're talking on it, you got to think it's kind of bending down, going back to where your cigarette lighter down in the car. So it's putting pressure there as it bends down as you're using the device.
Okay. All right. So how are we coming over there, John?
About almost the halfway mark, maybe a little past. Really kind of hard to gauge. I've got the old screen off. I'm putting the new screen together with all the components, and then I will have it back in the phone here in just a few minutes.
Okay. Well, we only have a few minutes left.
I will be keeping right up with that. So.
All right. That's good. So
I should have started a little bit quicker.
Yeah. What's the matter with
I brought the right part up with me from the car. That would have helped. That would have helped.
Yeah. Look, it's not a fun day unless something minor goes wrong.
Right. I say that every day. No, I'm just kidding. If you'd like to call in and ask a question, we still have time for you to do that. 423-800-8949. 423-800-8949. You can also pose questions here on Facebook Live. We're also on YouTube, so that way you can see John back there furiously working on it. And he's going from one thing to another.
One screw to another.
Yeah. And I'm sure with cell phones, there are probably tons of little dinky screws. I mean, it's just, the way that they have simplified things. I can still remember the bag phone when they first came out, but how small? I can hardly see it. Wow.
Your answer.
I've got huge hands, but I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we could.
I don't.
Which monitor goes to what, but I mean, that.
You can't even really see it. Right over here is the YouTube one.
Yeah, you can barely.
And Facebook.
Right there, but
It's barely there. You can hardly see it, but
yeah, they're small. And also too, Sam, we do have a couple of $25 gift certificates that we're giving around the show.
Okay.
It just goes toward the repair, so anything needs to be fixed. It's $25 of credit that we're offering the customer.
Okay.
And we actually have some for you guys to give away and hand out at remotes and stuff like that too.
Okay. Now this Saturday, you're going to be joining us down for the 36th annual Chattanooga Waterfront Triathlon.
We are.
And they're going to be there at our canopies there at the start-finish line at Ross's Landing. And we encourage you to come down because you can ask these two gentlemen and the rest of their staff, what they could do to help you with your cell phone problems or tablets or gaming console or whatever. And we're going to be down there early Saturday morning. Nick LeFew and myself, the Breakfast Blitz, we're going to be down there broadcasting our show from Ross's Landing. So we want to encourage you to come on down, check it out. Keon Rose will be dropping in as well, and I'm sure the rest of the staff will be popping in from time to time. And then on Sunday, people are going to be down there to watch me and to make fun of me because I'll be riding a bicycle with doing live broadcast of the race, following along the course. Can you imagine I got on the scales the other day, 240. I've lost 10 pounds.
What's the start?
Yeah. So I had been 312. So we're down to around 240.
Tell me your secret when we got there.
Live with my wife. No, I won't say that. She's a great cook, and I am too. But I've been trying to cut back on the fast foods and eat more green salads and stuff. And
I actually cut back on soda, and that actually helped me lose some weight too.
Right. So yes, I will be able to ride a bicycle, and I will be riding it through the course and everything there on Sunday. And we hope that you come out and check things out as well. Well, John, final check-in with you. Where are we at?
I am putting the last couple of screws in right now. And optimally, this will power up and everything. Of course, I wasn't able to check it because the screen was so damaged beforehand. So
Well, luckily,
we'll see here in just a moment how everything is doing.
Luckily, in my craziness today of getting the wrong screen for that phone, I did test the vibration functions and stuff, so it did power up.
Okay.
So we're somewhere. I don't know where we are, but we're somewhere.
So don't forget to come down to the Chattanooga Waterfront Triathlon on Saturday and Sunday. As I said, Nick LeFew and friends with the Breakfast Blitz will be broadcasting beginning at a little after 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. And if you want to, call in at 423-800-8949. We'll award you these gift certificates, $25 off with services from the Mobile Medics. They're located at themobilemedics.com. And then you can also call them at 423-417-3002.
And if there's a chance that if we don't get to the phone, just leave us a message. We do have voicemail, and we will return a call.
Text is also
that number is textable. So if you wanted to text instead, 423-417-3002, you can.
And it's powering up.
And we have a live device.
All right.
So we went from broke, no life, to completely fixed
in 11 minutes.
11 minutes. And we had to find another screen.
Yes. You run fast. All right. We've got CBS World National News here in just a moment. Thanks for listening to the Locker Room Show with Sam Jordan. And we appreciate you tuning in. Keon Rose is coming up next here on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.